So you may not know this, but I design sales systems so dialed in that sellers become legends, managers start saying team player unironically, and founders stop sweating through their shirts during investor calls. Um, okay, enough of being a dork. Okay, so I'm starting to work. Basically, I'm building a killer system for a family entertainment center. It's a family entertainment center called Revved Up Fun. And what these guys, they were number one family entertainment center in the whole, I think it's the whole world. I guess in America. Need to get my facts straight. Last year, so they're legit. They're just south of Detroit, about 30 miles south of Detroit. And the goal is to promote more team and group events. And so what we did is I sat down with the owner and we kind of mapped out their different revenue streams. So you've got schools, you've got businesses, and then there's this whole other category called sports teams, right? And there's all these different options. Essentially, you're trying to put together like packages of 10, 20 people, 30 or 40, depending, and get them to come in, play laser tag, play in the arcades. They just bought a new attraction that's pretty awesome. Use the meeting rooms. There's all these different things you can do, but really just celebrate and have a good time. And on the corporate side, you want to basically do like team building or maybe off sites where you've got great meeting space, but then they can have some fun and you can bond. And it's really hard to facilitate that in the office a lot of times. And so, that's what we're working on. So if I'm going to walk through this entire process, this has to be relevant for you. So if there's like three of you that are watching this that find this really relevant, awesome. I think you're going to have a blast. Everybody else, I mean, unless you like watching me talk, there's really not too much in it for you. And so let's talk about the ICP. So I'm going to start with everything that I did to put together the ICP. And so if we're trying to put team building, we're essentially targeting businesses that basically either have a division or the business is smaller than 50 people, because there's only so much capacity in the meeting space in order to run these events. So one example is we picked credit unions. So what I did is I ran a scrape with serperdev, basically with this Clay API integration, and I essentially said all cities that are within 25 miles as an example of this center, so of their address. I use credit union. So imagine you're typing credit union in Google Maps and then finding those results. And that's what you get here. At the end of it, you end up getting a big list of all of these credit unions and their phone numbers and their websites. Perfect. I also enriched it with the distance. So I found their LinkedIn pages and then the number of employees and then ultimately how many miles away from the facility they are. Because if, in example, you want to reference, hey, we're only 5 miles down the road, we're only 10 miles down the road. It helps with personalization. It also helps you qualify whether they're a good fit. What I then did is I actually picked up the phone and I made some cold calls to some of these credit unions. I found out that there's pretty savage phone trees. You're on hold a lot. You're hitting press 5 to try to speak to someone. When you talk to that person, they're often they don't really know who you should be talking to, especially if there's multi locations and these all roll up. So, but the information, the consistency that I got is HR and marketing departments. I also confirmed they are doing offsites, which is fantastic. So next thing I did is I went into Apollo and I built a list of all those credit unions within 25 miles that have like HR or marketing included in their titles. And I just built a big list. From there, and I'm going to hide the email addresses because I don't think things like to show that, but I created this big list and then I use lead magic just to validate whether they are valid emails and if they're valid catch-all. And if they're valid catch-all, only accept them if they're from Google. If they're these Microsoft and they've got these security, we're not even going to worry about them. Cool thing, 48 cents to grab about, less than 100 profiles. And then I validated their emails. So that was that whole process, right? And so now I've got a list of contacts. Second thing that we do is we need to define our sales process. So our sales process is pretty simple. MQLs, they've got to be within 30 miles. Then we got to find the right person to talk to, and then we need to be doing our contact strategy to them to introduce ourselves and see if they'd be open to doing offsites. If they want to have a conversation, we got to create an offer that they'd be interested in, and then kind of move them through the funnel, right? From there, we're going to move them through an opportunity funnel, but we're focusing on top of funnel right now. So what I did is I went into close CRM. Um, Freaking banger. But essentially, I created the different lead statuses to align with my sales process. I created some custom fields so that when I'm importing some data, you can find it easily. Driving distance, right? How big are they? Like employee count size. What's the company LinkedIn? What category? Because when I build a big list, I'm going to have credit unions. I'm going to have all different types of businesses that I'm going to be, adding in here. The next thing that I did is I built some views. Imagine these are kind of like lists that says, here's my marketing qualified leads. I'm going to go through these and I'm going to move them into researching. Once I find the right person I need to be talking to, I'm going to move them to active outreach. So I created all of these views inside of the CRM and then imported all my contact information. I may have to censor that. This is going to be censored. And then I started making calls. And so you're going to see I can log my conversations. I can keep track of how often they're doing offsites. So all this information is captured. And then now I can send them, follow-up emails. In this case, talked to a wonderful person named Shani, or Shani, and she was super helpful. She sent an email to the team. They said they do offsites all the time. Took my information and she asked me to go ahead and send her an email. So I have to go ahead and do that. Now, the last piece of this is setting up your KPIs. So what I've done is I've set up KPIs, just key performance indicators, right? And so I can see here, like, you want to keep it simple. I want to be able to track number of leads I contacted, right? Number of leads I created, contacted, called. This is how much time I was on the phone on average. These are conversations that I had, meaningful conversations where I was doing some research. And then I wasn't able to create any opportunities. It's just way too early. Haven't run much of a funnel, but all of this will fill in and I'll be able to track these numbers week over week, month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year. And I'm also going to be able to track these by category. So how do credit unions perform versus automotive shops, right? Versus schools, right? So we can have some predictability, so that when we're building this process and we're handing this off to a seller, they know what's expected of them, they know what's possible, and we can go ahead and forecast the types of activities that they need to be doing in order to drive results. The last thing that I did is I started setting up a cold email structure, because, as you probably know this, but if you don't, you can't just be sending emails, in this case from revdupfund.com, especially to people who've never heard of you. You can go to spam, people can block you, it's going to hurt your domain reputation. And then when you're trying to email people that do know you, you're going to take a hit. And so best practice here is to set up some external domains that refer back to your revdupfund.com domain. And so that's what I went ahead and did here. I use maildoso. Super easy to use, love them. Honestly, I created 12 emails from 3 different domains, right? And so what I did is I went through, I bought for $99. I was able to set up team events, group events, fun events, and events manager for a tremendous amount of, you can see, here's all my emails that I created. Fun at rev.fund.net, manager at rev.fund.net, right? Fun at rev.fund.us, right? So you've got different domains. And if somebody replies back, those go directly to my main emails. So one person can get all those responses funneled. And if one of them is going to spam too much and your deliverability is taking a hit, it's not going to ruin everybody else. It kind of spreads the risk, and it's also best practice. So Maildoso makes that super easy. Then got instantly again, very reasonable, enables me to load all these different domains into its system. So I was able to go ahead and add them all. It connects to SMPT, or it connects all the information that I need, and then enables me, then it starts warming up those emails so that they don't go to spam, right? So it slowly starts sending emails and getting replies, so that if I would have taken one of these almost virgin emails, yeah, it's pretty much a ticket to the spam show, right? So we want to make sure that they're warmed up. And then when I begin starting to do outreach, where I'm wanting to reach these people, in the case of credit unions, marketing, and HR, I'm going to only send no more than 3 emails every single day for a little bit, and then step it up to 4, then step it up to 5, so that when I'm sending these emails and we're monitoring that we're not going to spam. So this whole infrastructure was created. And what's also cool is you just want to follow best practices. So when you're sending emails, text only, don't add links in there, simplify signature. These are just standard best practices, right? And so we make sure that we've got a good infrastructure there. Um, Now I'm ready to start cooking, right? Sorry, somebody's pinging me. So my next steps are actually to follow, basically to capture my market of businesses. So build up a big list of businesses that are targeted, that are near my family entertainment center. Started with credit unions, right? So 22 credit unions, about 83 people that I can reach out to across marketing and HR in those companies. And then again, retail, hospitality, labor unions. I'm starting to build the different organizations that I want to go ahead and start selling to. And so in that, I have to do some research. So in this case, I called some credit unions. I tried to find out the right person. I'm going to do research across all of these different types of businesses. I'm going to build up a big list. I'm going to enrich them. I'm going to start sending them emails just to start like outbounding to them, because I can't possibly reach all of them at once. Also, me sending one email from one domain is going to go into spam, and it's going to limit the amount of volume that I can do. So I'm going to kick that off. And then I'm going to go ahead and start making phone calls into this list of these businesses that I'm calling, in order to go ahead and get some responses, build some awareness about what we do, and start building up the top of funnel. At the end of the day, I'm top of funnel building. I'm creating awareness on what we do. I'm mapping a good, strong, total addressable market. I'm finding the right people. I'm going to be tailoring my outreach to each one of those different segments. And we're going to cook and we're going to have a good time. So, again, this is kind of the full stack. Here's the cheat codes. I'm trying to build as live as I can to show others what I'm doing, because ultimately the intent is I want to support many family fun centers with this kind of a tech stack, and not only help them by taking off this a lot of this off their shoulders. This is a good amount of work, but then also sales coaching, mentorship, supporting them. There's a lot of technical things that go behind the scenes to make sure they're hitting their numbers, working with GMs and owners. So again, with all the other clients that I'm working with in the tech industry, this is a passion project. Wish me luck. And yeah, thanks for watching.